Good afternoon, everyone. It is great that you could join us at lunch today. I am Leslie Frelow, and I am here with Deana Jean. And we are calling this the Business IQ, feeding your business IQ. So you feed your body, and we are going to help you feed your business IQ. And in a minute, I'm going to explain how wine ties into this because I know you're like, you schling wine, not provide business advice, which is very true. But before we get started, I want to introduce a new friend, Deana Jean, who is just a sunshine. She is just very bright, just as bright as her smile, but bright, and is going to help us get our networking game up. So please, Deana, introduce yourself.
Hey, Leslie. Well, I'm Deana Jean, as Leslie mentioned, and I am a launch strategist and I'm also a tribe builder. I help folks to make intentional connections and build tribe. And I'm thrilled to be here. I'm based in the New York City area, and everything that I do is all about helping overwhelmed, high powered, high achieving women find the types of networking, collaboration, business relationships that are going to be organic to them and help them build and grow their businesses organically. And I love doing it. It's my favorite thing to do.
And you're a natural at it.
Thank you.
You are not like when you and I first met, I was like, yeah, this is something you should be doing.
Yeah.
Like
I'm glad.
this is your gift, not like you can't do anything else. No,
Right.
this is your gift to do this, that you are a connector. I think you call yourself a master connector. You are a master connector.
I appreciate that. And it's always great when someone else agrees with that. It's hard when like you talk about yourself, you're like, I'm a master connector. I do this, I do that. So when
Right.
other people say it too, it's like, oh, okay, that's true. You really do know what you're doing. So I appreciate that compliment. It is, it's something that it took me a while to figure out that was what I was supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you grow up, like it's not one of those traditional types of jobs or traditional types of roles. So after having years of realizing that the most important things to me were relationships, integrity, and that I have a very, very natural gift for building high trust, high impact relationships, it just evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, I think I like when you talk about high trust relationships because I have been intentionally trying to network more via Zoom, via, whatever it is,
Yeah.
in-person events. But, part of networking, meeting the people is just one step, right?
Right.
But following up, establishing those relationships. I
Right.
hate when you go to these networking events and people are asking you for the business right then and there. Um,
It's
like,
insane.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
insane.
It's like, and so because there aren't that many out there, and if they are, okay, I'm going to offend. All right, let me just say that right now. It's like you meet a vacuum salesperson,
Right.
and
Knocking on your door.
right. And they're like, hey, how you doing? Like at a networking event, hey, do you have any vacuum sales people in your life? Like, I could at this stage in the game, right? You probably already have a financial person. You probably already have an insurance
That's
person.
that's
You
what I was
already
gonna
have,
say.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to get past like what they can do for you immediately and start to build those relationships, that's what I love. What you teach and what you do is because you talk about how that works.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about like beyond asking someone, hey, do you have a vacuum in your life?
That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do? So
What do you do?
you say there are three types of networking relationships, and you said the first one is the enthusiastic sponsor.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is actually good because what I love on the fly conversations, and none of this is scripted. So let's actually use your example of
Okay.
the vacuum salesperson, right? Because
Mhm.
I like for folks to have something tangible that they can think about. So, as an example, if you are a vacuum salesperson, ultimately you want to put yourself in a position where folks are constantly, as soon as they see you, they know that you are that person, where you don't even have to open your mouth in
Right.
order to be able to say, hey, I sell vacuums. But really the conversations that you're having with people are more so around their needs, right? Like,
Mhm.
how big is your house? Do you have a big house? Do you have a small house? What's the hardest part about keeping your house clean, right? So when we think about enthusiastic sponsors are one of the types of folks that you want to make sure that you are attracting when you're networking. So often when we're networking, we're thinking about customers, 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 right? And at the end of the day, yes, that is the outcome, but there's so many different ways to get there. So as a vacuum salesperson, your enthusiastic sponsors are actually going to be people who probably themselves don't even sell vacuums, right? Your enthusiastic sponsors are going to be people that know people who need vacuums, that are in spaces when people are talking about keeping their homes clean or maybe replacing their appliances. And that
Mhm.
person themselves might not even know a lot about vacuums, but they know you are the vacuum person. And they have seen that because they've seen your branding. They've been in rooms where you have been giving people advice about the best way to keep their vacuums up, maintenance on their vacuums. So enthusiastic sponsors are really important because those are the people who are saying your name in rooms where you're not even present. Those are people who are actually in the Facebook post, in the mom groups where they're saying, I need a new vacuum. Those are the people that are tagging you, right?
Yes.
Those are the people that when they're at the conventions and they're like, hey, we need somebody who's going to be there to be in the vacuum spot. They say your name or they pass along your information. So enthusiastic sponsors are so important to you because they are creating opportunities for your voice and your brand to be present in rooms where you may not physically be.
That is very valuable. And like in my life, people will say, "Oh, that's the wine lady."
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
They will say, "Oh, that is the wine lady." Now, and especially those people who don't drink. I don't drink, right? I
Right.
don't drink, but I know this person.
Think about how much better of a recommendation that is. Like
Yes.
how strong that
Mhm.
is. Like, I don't even drink, but I know this lady, right?
Right.
Or like somebody's like, you know what? I don't even have like a house. Like, I have a cleaner that comes to clean my house. So like I don't even buy my own vacuums. But what I do know is that every cleaner that I know uses this person.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the
Exactly.
first type of person you always want to make sure that you are attracting and that you're building high trust relationships with.
Yeah. And can you just talk a little bit about what do you mean by high trust relationship?
Very good. So relationships that are high trust are relationships where people actually see you as a consultant. They see you as a valuable resource and they see you as a person who actually adds value and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. They see you as a person that they can recommend. They see you as a person that they can ask questions of, right? We have all types of relationships.
Mhm.
We have relationships that are low trust, that are super, super transactional, right? Like a lot of times, if something's really transactional, you don't need a ton of trust, right? You need to kind of know that on the surface they're going to do what they said that they're going to do,
Right,
but
right.
it's not necessarily something where you either have to divulge something about yourself, be vulnerable, or where the stakes are super high. So high trust relationships are ones where you have proved over time that you are trustworthy, that you are a valuable asset, and that you are there to be able to support and serve others.
Which I think is part of the value of the relationship building.
Sure.
It's completely part of that relationship building. So if you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, and then you continue to follow them, you comment on their posts,
That's right.
you see what information that they're
That's
posting,
exactly
their
right.
personal expertise or what have you. They're building that trust, you're building that relationship
Mhm.
there. So there's comfort in saying, hey, I know this person that can help you build
That's
your
exactly
business there.
right. And that's so much harder. Like a lot of times, because we're gonna go into the next one too, but a lot of
Mhm.
times where we miss the mark is that we are treating enthusiastic sponsors like they are our ideal clients. We're treating
Yeah.
people that really have a lot of potential in supporting our mission by like saying our names. We're treating them like they are our ideal clients or like the people that we should be serving. And that's where things go wrong because they're like, I don't even need, like, I don't need a vacuum, right? A lot of times when we first start businesses, we
Hmm.
consider our family and our friends to be our ideal clients. And then we get upset when they don't buy things from us. But if we treat our family and friends like enthusiastic sponsors and provide them with the information and the tools and the resources so that they can be sending us the right type of people, maybe eventually they will become our ideal clients. But
Hmm.
typically, we're going to start out with just saying, hey, this is how you can support me. These are the type of people that I work best with.
I mean, that is super, super important in
Yeah,
any industry, right? Um, because first, your friends and family
right.
usually are not entrepreneurs.
That's right.
It is a rarity, right?
Mhm.
And unless you live this life, you don't understand this life, right?
How about that? Yeah.
And in it, like you said, in the beginning, you expect them to support you
Mhm.
financially
Right.
and investing in your services or your products or what have you. You quickly learn that should not happen.
Right.
And then, like, that's another LinkedIn episode,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Um, but them going out there, and I use my mom for an example. She will wear our company T-shirts to her swim class.
That's exactly right.
Like,
Mhm.
yes, mom. So then they will ask her, "Oh, what is that?" What
Mhm,
have you.
mhm, mhm.
Very enthusiastic sponsor.
That's exactly right.
She is not my client.
But that's the same thing with my
Mhm.
mom and, like, my aunts and even my husband, right? Like,
Mhm.
really being able to equip those folks with what they need to be true sponsors for you, and
Yes.
being grateful that they are kind of a mouthpiece for you in areas, again, where you're not present.
Yes. Yes. So the next one, if you don't mind, if I move on to
Yeah,
the next
go
one,
for it. Let's go.
align power partners.
Yes. Aligned power partners. So these are really, really cool. So aligned power partners, if we're using the same analogy, right, are going to be the type of folks who serve who you serve, but they serve them differently, right? So, as an example, if we're going back to our example of the vacuum salesperson, right?
Mhm.
Maybe a power partner for the vacuum salesperson would be a cleaning service, right? Like a person or a cleaning service, an organization that is constantly looking for those specific types of tools or engaging with people that need them.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a maintenance person, someone who goes into the homes of people who might potentially need this specific service, right? And the cool thing about power partners is that these are people who typically are going to also be entrepreneurs if you're an entrepreneur,
Right.
and they're going to serve the same types of people that you serve, but they're going to serve them differently. What this allows is, again, for you to be able to have a further reach, because maybe they have a Rolodex of networking contacts or contacts that can compound and be added to your Rolodex. And you
Mhm.
also have contacts that they don't have. And you can come together to do really cool things. You and I are a good example of
Right.
aligned power partners, right? We serve similar types of folks, but we serve them differently. So
Mhm.
coming together in something like a LinkedIn Live where I promote it to my audience, you promote it to your audience, it's an opportunity for me to add value. When I'm referring you over to people, it's an opportunity for you to add value to my audience. It just creates these really awesome relationships and synergies that allow for you to really and truly expand your reach and find
Mhm.
opportunities for then you to have even more enthusiastic sponsors, because your aligned power partners by definition are also going to be enthusiastic sponsors for
Yes, yes,
you.
yes. And excuse me. So the other day when you and I were talking about this, I was telling you like who are my LinkedIn buddies, right?
Right.
Who are the people? And it's so funny because I was going through and I was like, oh, vineyard owner,
Yeah.
oh, blogger, oh, distributor, da 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 da, what have you. And I was sharing with you that as an expert in this field,
Mm-hmm.
you know that field, but you're pigeonholed or you're in your cubby to expand out of that field to to have these aligned power partners.
Right.
There are a number of individuals who are influencers in the wine world, um, maybe winemakers or people who sell wine, and they feel like they have hit the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they haven't established these aligned power
Power
partners
partners. Yeah. Yeah.
and have reached across like they and I'll pick on influencers for
Yeah.
a second. They you know, they write about wine, they talk about wine, they may approach
Mm-hmm.
brands
Mm-hmm.
um to sponsor them or what have you, and that is the natural inclination, right?
Yeah.
But moving beyond working with the brands, that there are other alignments that they could have with maybe like stemware,
Right.
where they're not necessarily the brand, but they can have a relationship because those stemware people also want the endorsement by a wine company.
That's
I mean, what
exactly right.
better endorsement to say that like your stemware is so great that can help people influences a better taste of their wine or what have you. And then you have this relationship here.
Yep.
So looking, I think this is a great example of how do you get past that ceiling
Yes.
is looking with these aligned power partners, especially in the wine world, because if you just know that specialties, but you're trying to shine your light a little brighter, then this
Yeah.
is where you should be going.
Absolutely. And again, this is for the folks who are like you and I, where we want to build our reach organically, but we also want it to be impactful. So
Mhm.
we're about relationships. So this is a way to do this that allows for you to be able to leverage and build relationships that are going to give you long-term results for
Yes.
your business.
So let me ask you one more question before we move on to the
Yeah.
next. So how would one go about saying, okay, who would where do I start identifying those individuals? Because I think that's where people get
Yeah.
stuck.
Great question. So this is actually something that I teach and I coach. And
Ooh.
it really comes down to first being super clear before you approach anyone, doing the pre-work that makes sure that you know what alignment looks like. So often we'll approach people about collaborations or opportunities, not realizing that there's not an alignment in the key areas that we need to be synced up on, right? So there's a strategy that I talk about, which is called the goals, gifts, and gaps strategy. This is a networking strategy. And it means that before you approach anyone around any type of partnership or collaboration opportunity, you first need to be super, super clear about your goal. What is the goal that you want to accomplish? Are you looking to build more customers? Are you looking for more press? Are you looking to be able to gain exposure on stages? Right? Then, after you identify your goals and can communicate them in a really specific way, you want to look at your gifts. This is very important because when you are approaching aligned power partners and you want to build true symbiotic relationships, you should actually be leading with a give. You should be coming into the relationship with what your gift is so that it can accompany that person and help and support them. But if you have not identified that and know how to communicate what your gift is, it'll be very difficult to create aligned partnerships, right? And then the last part is the part a lot of times that we shy away from. It is identifying your gaps. Where are the areas where you either don't have expertise or it's just not worth your time to learn, right? So, as
Mm-hmm.
an example for me, if I'm thinking about it from a goals, gifts, and gaps standpoint, when I wanted to launch my business, I'm a first generation entrepreneur. I had a goal of being able to launch a coaching practice. What is my gift? I build great relationships. I have over 15 years in sales experience. I'm a very, very good salesperson and connector, right? What were some of my gaps? One of my biggest gaps was digital marketing, right? Like, I am not a tech person. I don't do, I didn't do all the digital, the Instagram, all that other stuff, right? So instead of me stopping and saying, all right, well, I can't start this business because who has a business without digital marketing and I don't know how to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Or me trying to figure out how to do it on my own, knowing that I would not do it nearly as well after many, many hours of someone who's professional. I actually use that as a way to seek out aligned power partners. And who did I seek out? I sought out people that had similar goals to me, that had a gap in an area where I was gifted, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they need more sales. They need to be able to communicate their value better, whatever it was. And then that were gifted in an area where I had a gap, gifted in the area of digital marketing or tech. And those created tremendous relationships. So once you do that audit of your goals, gifts, and gaps, then it makes it super easy now for you to know who you're looking for. Because a lot of times we think we want to partner with everyone. But when you do this activity, you start to realize who truly is the person that you should be looking for, whether it's an enthusiastic sponsor or an aligned power partner or the last type of person that we'll talk about.
Okay. That is okay. So before we talk about the last person, type of person, because I like to build a little suspense.
Yeah, of course.
Please, you have this amazing conference coming up
I
where
do.
you can get more of this good information.
Absolutely. So we have our virtual summit that is coming up. It's actually on April 30th. And this is a summit that's specifically tailored toward 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurial women who are at a place where they want to be in a space that is aligned to the 3 types of people that we're talking about, right? Your enthusiastic sponsors, your aligned power partners, and the third type of person that we're going to talk about. And they want to be able to be in a room where they already know that alignment is there. Those folks are there, and they actually want to use and leverage that space to build intentional collaborations and partnerships that are going to catapult their business. These women have grown to 6 figures, or they've grown to wherever they are, and now in their scaling model, they actually want to prioritize collaboration and partnership. So they're going to be in this space with amazing, tremendous women from my own personal success tribe who are going to be there to create access to information. The theme is curating communities that create currency. So we're talking about how to use your network in your community to build currency for you in all aspects of your life. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
April 30th, we actually sold out our first round, and I had to talk to my team, and we ended up opening up 10 more spots last Monday. After that, we're going to close the cart. We are down now to 3 spots for the summit. So I'm excited about it. SuccessTribeSummit.com.
I'm putting that in the chat so
Yeah.
people, so it's Success Tribe.
TribeSummit.com. Yes. And if you are watching this live, and by the time you get to this, and you click on that link and it's still active, meaning we have not filled those 3 seats, use the promo code ACTION, ACTION. And that is just a special gift from me to you, for just being here and being part of this experience and being connected to me through Leslie.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Like if this is a small indicator of,
Later. Yeah.
then you are going to have something special. So the last type that we have is the ideal clients. And
Mm-hmm.
I hear this term all the time bantered around,
Yeah.
but please share with us what that is.
Absolutely. So a lot of times when we hear ideal client, we're thinking it's the person who's going to pay us, right? A lot of money for our gift, right? For whatever it is that we're selling or whatever service we have. And that's only part of it. Because at the end of the day, Leslie, you and I both know that there is no shortage of people who are willing to pay you for your service, right? Especially, and there's my phone, for your service, especially as you are going out there and as you are moving forward and as you are building. I'm actually going to go ahead and
Oh, oh, go ahead. Not a problem.
give me
Not a
one
problem.
second. This
And
is real time,
if
y'all.
any of these concepts are resonating with you and you're watching, please put your comments in the chat and let us know how these resonate with you and impact your business and how you operate in your business.
Perfect. And of course, that's my husband. I was telling Leslie that my husband is actually out with my daughter. He took her out and they are, he took her to get a mani pedi because today's her first day of spring break. So he's calling me, asking me about lunch, but we'll figure that out in a few minutes. But ideal client, right? So this is not just the person who is going to pay you, because there are going to be a lot of people that pay you. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Leslie, but you get into a relationship with a client and you're like, great, this is my ideal client. And then not too long after you onboard them or you connect with them, whatever the case was, you realize that this is a nightmare client, right? Like on the surface, yes, they want to buy wine, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But at the end
mm-hmm,
of the day, maybe they
mm-hmm.
don't align to you from a core values perspective. Maybe they really and truly don't understand the value of the service that you offer. So they're kind of trying to haggle you about things and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So your ideal client is going to be a person, first of all, that has a specific problem and pain that you have a solution to. That's the number one thing, right? The second thing is that that person has quantified that pain in a way where they already know what it is costing them not to solve it. Right? And then the last piece is this person has already determined that they're ready to solve the pain, and there's a sense of urgency there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put those three elements together, you have your ideal client. These people are going to be attracted to your offer. They're going to be attracted to who you are. When you get on a call with them, if you choose to get on a call with them, you are not selling them anything. You're not convincing them of anything. You are closing them. You're giving them the opportunity.
Right.
Right? As a coach, consultant, or whatever it is that you do. So your ideal clients are going to have a problem that you can solve with your gift. So something that comes easy to you and that you love to do. They are going to be a person who has identified and quantified their pain, and they have made a decision that they are ready to solve the pain already. Right? And they're excited about the opportunity to work with you to solve that pain. Right?
So it's interesting because when you talk about ideal client, you have framed it in a different way than a lot of people talk about ideal client. Because when other people talk about ideal client, they talk about demographic information like their gender, how much they make, what do they like to eat, where do they live, what have you. And so people get caught up in the
That's right.
demographic portion
Yes.
of it,
Yes,
and
yes.
not necessarily, I think you bring out a good point, that they realize that they are lacking or have not lacking, that's too harsh of a word, that there is a need that they need to fulfill. And you are not overly trying to convince them that they have this need.
That's exactly right, right? Like the demographic data, there is some, there's some validity to that to a certain extent. But part of that demographic data also needs to, you do the demographic data after you've identified the problem that you solve. Right? So first you have to get really, really clear on the problem that you solve. And then
Mhm.
you can use the demographic data to like niche down even more. If there are a whole bunch of people that have this specific problem and you're like, no, I want to niche down even more,
Mhm.
right? So as an example, if you have a real estate agent, right? A real estate agent, if they're just using demographic data, would say, I want to work with people who are ages 20 to 25 that are married, that want to live in a nice neighborhood, right? But if you go to the point where you're starting to solve a problem, right? Solving a problem gets much, much more specific because they have a larger problem. If you start to think about, okay, maybe I want to focus specifically on people who are starting families, like physically, like birth
Mhm.
is imminent, right? And they need to get into a bigger place. That's a
Right.
really big pain point that as
Mhm.
long as you know that this is what they need, everything that you talk to them about is going to resonate around solving that pain. Everything that you mention to them about this house is going to relate back to the extra room, the
Mhm.
schools in the neighborhood, right? The ability to have a mother-in-law apartment, whatever it may be, right? A
Right.
mother
Right.
suite. It makes it so much easier for you to get super, super clear about who you're looking for, their pain points, but also the messaging that's going to go into your communication and how you attract them.
And I also want to, because a lot of times when people think about this type of um approach, they're thinking about it solely as, well, that's a service-based business, but
Hmm.
I'm a product, and we're just trying to sell. Like,
Right, right.
when and I still struggle with this now. Like, this is my true confession. I
Yeah.
still struggle with this now because I'm like, I'm selling wine, right? Like, if you don't drink, then you're not my client, but everybody else is. And so I say now that I sell wine that features women and minority winemakers because there are people who have this need that are looking specifically for that niche boutique type of wine. I
Mhm.
provide services to business people who want to incorporate wine in their networking activities and make it comfortable for them to understand wine in social settings, which I think you so if you are a product based business and if you are like my wine colleagues and you're like, well, that's nice, but I'm selling a product, you still can do that same type of analysis of who your ideal client is.
Right. And even for your example, you're selling wine, but you're actually selling an experience and you're also selling an association. So even when you and I
Mhm.
spoke, and I'm not a big wine drinker, right? But even when you and I spoke, when you talked about the fact that you focus on women owned wineries, right?
Mhm.
That for me was an association that aligned to my desire and my goal and one of the core values of my business, which is elevating businesses and voices of Black and Brown women.
Yes. Mhm.
So I could buy wine from the wine store, right? Like I could buy
Right.
wine from anywhere. But what
Right.
I got from you was that association and alignment to my core values, but also you talked about the experience. So even if
Mhm.
you're a product-based person, right? Think about cars.
Yes.
There's a big difference for many people, not all people, between a Kia experience and a Mercedes experience.
Right.
They're both cars.
Mhm.
I'm not selling you the car. I'm selling you the association and the experience,
Yes. Yes.
right? That comes with that. So that's a way to think about it as well when you're thinking about uh, enthusiastic sponsors, aligned power partners, and ideal clients.
That is there's I was with my mom earlier today and we were joking about when I was in high school, that's when Jordache jeans first came out.
Got
Okay,
you.
I'm
Yep,
really dating,
Jordache. I got you. I got you.
really dating myself, and I wanted to get the pair of Jordache
Of course,
jeans,
yeah.
and my dad, frugal, let's put it that way, he
Hey.
was like, Leslie, they all make them in the same factory. One says
Uh-huh.
Jordache, the other one says nothing. Like it's all
Hmm.
produced in the same factory. And I think that is, I'm going to bring this around. That's the same thing here.
Same
You
experience.
may make a similar product to someone else, but that experience or that need that one person has versus somebody, your competitors, is different.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. It's about how do you differentiate? How do you create the experience? And that even comes down to collaboration, right? We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about networking and collaboration. And when you're partnering with all these people, how do you create an experience through partnership with you that's different than others? For me, I focus on high impact, high trust relationships between powerhouse women. I don't focus on transactional relationships. People don't come to me and connect with me if they're looking for microwave connections, right? It was like, hey, I need somebody to buy something. They don't come to me for that because that's
Right.
not my area of expertise. That is not where I thrive. There are people that do that really well, but I'm not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a great job of being able to identify and establish that with people. Like, for example, with this summit. This summit is a virtual summit. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's an intimate group, right? So that we can have good, good bandwidth, right? We can be able to have
Right.
a span of
Mm-hmm.
control,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a $1,500 summit, virtual, $1,500, right? There are people that would position the same type of summit in a networking event to be free, right? To be
Mm-hmm.
$97. And what's going to happen? They're going to attract a different type of client.
Yes. Yes.
The clients are going to get a different type of outcome. When you go to that event, your expectation is usually fairly low. It's low risk,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you come to our summit, you already know that this is the place that you're supposed to be. Like, there's no question. If you're not supposed to be there, you're not even going to look at it twice. It's like $1,500. She's crazy.
Right.
But if it is called to you and you are called to that experience and you understand the impact of the connections that are going to be made, if all the people that you're looking for fall within that criteria that we mentioned, this is a no-brainer investment for you because you see the lifetime value of the
Right.
relationships
Right.
that are going
Mm-hmm.
to be built. So that's a great example, right? A lot of people do networking events. A lot of people do networking, but there are things that I do that make it different. And there are things that others do that make it different.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Awesome. This
This
was
is
fun.
definitely feeding my business IQ.
I love it. I love it. I hope so. And I hope everyone else that's watching feels the same way. Would love to hear from anyone, your feedback. Let me know you saw us here. And yeah, this is just the beginning for Leslie and I. We have some awesome things that we can definitely do together and collaborate on. So I'm excited about it.
Definitely. And so please tell people again, one, about the summit at the end of this month, and then two, how can they connect with you?
Great. Yeah. So the summit again is the Success Tribe Virtual Summit. It's on April 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's virtual, it'll be on Zoom. And this is a space that I've curated specifically for 6 and 7 figure powerhouse women who are determined and really focused on prioritizing scaling their businesses. They already have profitable businesses, but now scaling them through intentional collaboration and partnership with other 6 and 7 figure powerhouse women. They want to be able to have a success tribe of women that they can do these lives with and that they can do events with and that they can call on for speaking engagements and things like that. So I've curated this amazing group. And the theme is curating communities that create currency. We have some tremendous powerhouse speakers that are going to be there. You can go to successtribesummit.com. But it's not just the powerhouse speakers. It's every single registrant that's there is a powerhouse boss woman that you just want to be connected to. And power networking is also going to be a really important component of the day. You're going to leave with just tremendous connections, partnerships. And the goal is for you to leave with those collaborations set up,
Yes.
having the
Yes.
things set up for Qs 2, 3, and 4 before we leave by the end of the day. So I'm excited about it. And I'm going to be brokering those relationships the entire time. That's the only role I have. I'm not teaching anything. I am doing what I do best, which is helping people make connections as a master connector. And I'm actually emceeing my own event because I'm a professional MC. So I'm a great hype woman. So I'm going to get everybody excited and make sure that those connections are strong.
And if you guys are not sure where to go, I put it in the chat, the website, and there is a promo code. So
Yes.
if you see this, go to the site. Hopefully it's not sold out again. Like she opened the site up some more.
Right.
Use the promo code
Action.
ACTION.
Yeah, that's it. Action. Because
Use that
action
promo
takers
code.
only.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully it won't be sold out again.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And if for any reason it is sold out, shoot me a DM and I'll make sure that you get on the early wait list for our next summit.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, LinkedIn fam, enjoy the rest of your lunch. I hope this has fed your business IQ. It definitely has mine. And thank you so much for taking time to meet with us. I appreciate it, Deana.
Absolutely. I'm excited and thank you for the opportunity. And thank you to everyone who watched.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.